just hit towards the back. So I see where you all were as students when you were here. But I appreciate y'all being on. We are going to start the evening with the Pledge of Allegiance. If you please stand. Well, again, thank you all for coming out brave in some of this weather. I gave the four of these gentlemen a bit of a fright. At about 4 o'clock, we got a message saying, hey, there's some nasty weather about an hour south of us. We might not be able to do this tonight. So I sent them all a message, and I think they thought I was pranking them. But I'm glad to see that it's blown by, and again, appreciate everybody coming out, giving us some of your time this evening to listen to these four gentlemen speak. A couple of thank yous that I need to go through for everybody. Number one, thank you to Starbuck Media and Mike Sabatini for providing the live stream tonight. So this is being streamed on the Starbuck Media YouTube channel, and it will be available to watch post if anybody wants to do so. I also want to thank LP High School for allowing us to use the auditorium for this forum. It's one of those things where you're never sure how many folks are going to show up. So we wanted to make sure we had enough space. And this seemed like a natural spot to host this event at. So thank you to LP for allowing us to use the space. Just so everybody's aware for this evening, the layout, I've heard this called a debate, I've heard it called several things. This is what we call a community forum. So what that is these four gentlemen running are going to answer questions that were provided by the community. It's not a debate style. The only questions, the follow-up questions will come from me. That's in order just to keep things flowing and make sure that we stay on time and get through as much as we possibly can. Anytime that there is more than one candidate running, there's always questions, and we want to make sure that we can get those questions answered and let these four kind of share what their plans are for the future, just to make sure that you are all informed voters, which I think is very important. We'll wrap with we'll start with a 5-minute opening, 3 minutes to answer questions, we'll wrap with a 5-minute closing, and then immediately following the question and answer session up here, I'll invite all of our folks that are running for an elected position, whether it is for the city or for the regional spots, on the April 1st election to come up front, and we'll have an informal meet and greet where you can shake hands, ask questions. They won't be on the microphone, it's an informal opportunity. There's a lot of houses to knock doors in LaSalle, and it's not been the greatest weather this spring, so it'll give them a chance to speak with each of you if you're interested. With that, I'm going to turn the show over to the four that you're here to see. So this evening, we're going to start with Jeff, with Mr. Grove, have him give his opening comments, and then we'll go down the table, and then we'll get into the questions. So, Jeff, the floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Thank you, Bill and IBAC for putting on this forum. Thank you to all candidates in all races on April 1st for being willing to put yourself out there as candidates. It's never an easy thing to do because you have to be open to criticism, false accusations, name calling, etc. You all know that's part of the program, unfortunately. Thank you, LP Superintendent Steve Robleski, LP Board of Education, the staff, the custodian staff here as well. Thank you to the Madison family for this beautiful Madison Memorial Auditorium. It's outstanding to have both the best high school football stadium and auditorium in Illinois, at least in my opinion. Thank you to LaSalle residents and all taxpayers that passed the referendum to remodel LP. Our school is on now par with new schools in the suburbs, and it's very appreciative to have a pretty much brand new school here, so thank you. Thank you, Mike Sabatini, for live streaming. Thank you to my fellow LaSalle residents who are here this evening, watching it live, or will be watching it when they have the time. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the candidates, and please consider taking the time to vote Tuesday, April 1st. Your polling place is the same place you voted last November. I'm running for re-election as mayor to continue the progress we've made in the city of LaSalle. I believe there are 3 pillars to making a strong city. One pillar, city services, infrastructure. Another pillar is city employees. Third pillar is quality of life. These are all equally important. There's no 1, 2, or 3. The 3 pillars. City services infrastructure includes police, fire, ambulance, water, sewer, garbage, and roads. Revenues from property tax, sales tax, motor fuel tax, corporate and residential utility payments, tip funds, and grants help to support these services. Employees, we try to get the best applicants to join our team as police, fire, ambulance, and public works employees, as well as to have them stay on the team. Quality of life, parks, family and friendly events at little to no cost, our swimming pool, library, pickleball courts, softball, baseball leagues, adult softball leagues, park and rec center programs, and green space, trails at Rotary, allows residents to enjoy their time at leisure. We need to make sure we take the time in our life for that. These pillars do not stand alone unless you have communication. Communication is a foundation for the pillars. Council meetings every 2 weeks, staff meetings every 2 weeks, sometimes weekly. Quarterly meetings with our employees, newsletters, Facebook, all calls, lived up LaSalle, postings, door hangings, information added to water billing meetings to help communicate to all residents. Our biggest challenge has always been finances. We do not have sales tax revenue as other municipalities, so we focus on our downtown and to continue to operate the city within our needs. When times were tough in 2008, I was on the council. The city didn't really have to cut extra spending because we weren't doing any extra spending at the time anyway. We're continuing to watch spending while still focusing on paving roads and working on infrastructure. Second challenge is ambulance, paramedic, fire department staffing. It's an issue area-wide, statewide. It's hard to get folks in that profession to come and work as paramedics, fire departments. We've done working with our own fire department is to take fire department / paramedic position. It's a pension job, which we feel will include more applicants to come and actually decide to work here with that pension. Right now, 401ks, people can go to group. A pension will hopefully maintain that employee to stay with us the long range as a full career. I had a great example of my parents in civic duty. We walked to the junior high, my parents would vote. They set the example. My grandpa was an LP school board member. My mom was always in the grade school PTA. My dad was on the senior high school grade school board. As many of you know, they volunteered with school athletic church functions just like you do. My high school teacher, Mr. Bird, encouraged us to give back. Don't forget where you came from, where you grew up at. Mayor Brady is the first executive we followed the city government as mayor. I know he started to run the city like a business and started to address the aging infrastructure. Mayor Murphy worked with Mr. Seneca and other landowners to annex property to the east, almost doubling the size of LaSalle as far as ground. Mayor Arbushway was my alderman and then mayor. I was fortunate to be an alderman for 6 years for Mayor Walshway. He created downtown TIP and had a vision for downtown. My goal is to promise to work with integrity, high energy, strong communication, and commitment to serve the residents of LaSalle. You, my bosses, with my experience, the strong team we have in LaSalle, it was city staff, employees, businesses, schools, and you. I want to be part of the group that sets up the next generation to be successful, just as we were set up by past administrations. I look forward to that discussion tonight. Thank you.
What's going on in the big old town of LaSalle today, people? My name is Jamie Hicks, and I'm running for mayor because the city needs a change in leadership. It needs fresh eyes, fresh thoughts, and fresh ideas. Over the past 2 years, the city of LaSalle has tried to silence me and others with ordinances that limit speaking times and physically remove me from meetings in violation of their own ordinances. Let's not forget the police retaliation, the harassment, the Apollo illegal criminal investigation coerced by terrorist chemical in the city of LaSalle, unwarranted taking of my cell phone, and false reports to the Social Security office. This has not been an easy road for me by any means, but I am still standing here and I am still fighting for you. I know I am not the only one who has stood in the wrong side of the fence with Jeff Grove. Cross this path and you will be dealt with. This stops not with me. This campaign isn't about me, it's about all of us. It's about the residents who feel ignored. It's about the businesses that tried to set up shop but got screwed over by city politics. It's about taxpayers who tried to see their money being mismanaged. It's about the city employees afraid of retaliation if they don't go with the flow. I'm running because we deserve better. A mayor that just doesn't work for a handful of insiders. A mayor who isn't afraid to tell the truth, even if it makes people uncomfortable. A mayor who isn't looking for political favors, but is ready to clean house and get this city back on track. My journey started because of the Harris fire and it has led me down a path of lies, deceit, and deception. It seems truth, justice, and accountability have been avoided for over 20 years, and I have been on a mission to expose the corruption behind small town politics in this city. From the making of the Jamie Hicks Show to the Hicks News, exposing real events that go on behind closed doors. Doing the right thing is not always easy. I've had my ups and downs. I take my small wins when I get them. I believe we need leadership because it's not the people that's broken, it's the ones in charge. This stops now. No more backroom deals. No more stonewalling the residents. No more personal agendas. No more retaliation. No more favoritism. And let's get on to being transparent about our $2 million deficit that we are in personal right now as I speak. That seems to be hidden from the public eye. What we need to do is use TIF money for true economic growth, not just handouts and bailing out the deficit. We need to utilize the East End water treatment plant because it's crumbling as we speak from that use. We need to utilize the sewer and water mains that already exist. This is untapped potential for major growth in this city. We need to address the smell downtown if we plan on businesses to set up shop in LaSalle. This comes from years of neglect that they are now forced to address. TIF is meant for projects that bring impact to the community. TIF monies have been used to build a park, city garage, while the old city garage is in such bad shape in the TIF district, they can't give the building away. Ask yourself why Grove has not used this money to repair the old city garage. But pay big money to move the new city garage into a TIF district at the cost of the tax dollars money. All this, also he could store the celebration of lights in the new building. What economic impact has that brought us? None. They got what they wanted and willing to hire from us to get it. When I realized we had a major water quality issue, I dug in to find it out why. To my amazement, the current administration has known for years we needed to get our wells out of the floodplains. They ignored us. They ignored, and ignored. We are competing with Paris Chemical over clean water. There are many, my time's running out, people. There's many issues that I have in my mind. Instead of handing out tax breaks to big corporations, we need to focus on small business, local entrepreneurs, and ones who actually create long-term jobs in this city. I know my name makes some people nervous that are in power, and that's good, because if they're afraid of accountability, then they shouldn't be running the city in the first place. I appreciate your vote on April 1st. Let's make this change together, people.
All right. Right at 5. It is it's tougher than you think to get everything you want in 5 minutes, and I think you'll see that tonight. Just so you know, that alarm, they all are aware that when that alarm goes off, that's for 20 seconds. It's not anybody being rude, it's just to keep everybody on track. So, appreciate that. Next up, we have Tyler.
Hello everyone, my name is Tyler Johnson. First things first, as you can tell, I'm the youngest person up here. I'll be turning 27 in April this year. My one and only goal right now is, like he said, this is for the next generation. I want to start pushing a youth-forward program. I want people in the 18 to 25 age range to feel like they have their voice being heard, that they can themselves expand our politics. I'm going to try to keep this short. I want to say thank you to all of you for being here. Thank you for being involved in politics. Because at the core of everything, it's the people who control everything in the city. And they should be controlling every aspect of the city. The mayor, just a figurehead at the end of the day, who does the administrative work. That's it.
Thanks, Tyler. Well under 5 minutes, I appreciate that. All right, and then Gary, if you could wrap us up, please, with opening comments.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Gary Hammers, and I'm honored to be running for Mayor of LaSalle. I want to start by apologizing. I'll be reading from my notes tonight because there's a lot to cover, and I want to make sure that it do not leave anything out. I truly appreciate each and every one of you for taking the time to be here. This election isn't just about me. It's about all of us and the future of our city. I am a longtime resident of LaSalle. My wife Julie and I have been married for 46 years last Monday, or a couple days ago. Just a side note, every year I get my wife a traditional anniversary gift. 46 years. Anybody know what the traditional anniversary gift for 46 years are? Oh, okay. Julie and I raised our 3 children here. Today, our 8 grandchildren also call them community homes. And we spend much of our time attending their school activities, sporting events, and helping with their daily routines. Like many of you, I care deeply about the future of LaSalle. Not just for ourselves, but for the next generation. I am not a politician. I am a business leader and a problem solver. Over the years, I have helped start over 35 businesses in our area, rehab and improve more than 15 buildings in downtown LaSalle. Dedicated over 40 years of service to the hearing impaired, leading a team of 6 employees who depended on me. Owned a business in LaSalle for over 35 years, and in all that time, no one from our former city council has ever visited to ask what I might need. The last point is important because as a mayor, I will personally visit our local entrepreneurs to find out how the city can help them succeed. I know firsthand what it takes to run a business in LaSalle, and I believe that supporting our businesses is the key to building a stronger city. Now that I'm retiring, I'm dedicating 100% of my time to serving this community. I'm not running for mayor for a paycheck. In fact, I'm donating my entire salary back to the city to help fund sidewalk and curb improvements. That's because I believe in real action, not empty promises. One of LaSalle's greatest strengths is our downtown business community, and I'm incredibly proud to support it. Most of our downtown shops are owned and operated by women entrepreneurs, and they are the backbone of our local economy. These hardworking business owners bought into the winning system that I started, and together we have built something great. But we're not done yet. Let's put the train back on the track and keep the momentum going. When business succeeds, LaSalle thrives. And as mayor, I will continue to champion and support local entrepreneurs and economic growth. I know I've talked a lot about downtown, but my vision extends far beyond it. I have a team of local investors ready and willing to invest in LaSalle. I have already identified over 30 acres of prime real estate that will kickstart the growth of hotels, restaurants, car dealerships, bringing in new jobs, new tax revenue, and a stronger economy. I have a proven track record of getting things done, and I have a clear vision for the future of LaSalle, one that I will see through to completion. My plan includes stronger economic development to bring in new business and support local entrepreneurs, lower property taxes by increasing sales tax revenue from a thriving business district, a safer, more walkable city with improved infrastructure, reinvestment in our neighborhoods. I have a complete economic development plan ready to go, and I will unveil it as soon as I'm ready. My goal is simple: to make LaSalle a city we can all be proud of, a place where business thrives, families feel secure, and our communities continue to grow. This election is about choosing a leader who has proven experience, a real plan, and a deep commitment to this city. I have spent my life working to make LaSalle better, and as your mayor, I will continue that work every single day. On April 1st, I asked for your vote so that together we can build a stronger, more prosperous LaSalle. Let's keep the momentum going and move LaSalle forward. It's time for a change. Thank you. By the way, 46th year anniversary is petroleum. Petroleum.
I hope you get it. So, if you notice, I appreciate all four of you and your opening comments there. If the audience and those at home notice, you didn't hear, other than not taking a paycheck, you didn't hear the reason that any of the four of these gentlemen are running is for a paycheck, or for notoriety, or for a free meal, right? Because chances are you're going to get charged double in a position like this when you go out to eat, depending on what changes or choices you've made. So what you heard is they're all looking for change. They're all looking for growth for this community. I will tell you that you don't run for a position like this unless you believe in it. Now, the way that they get to those changes, they're not going to agree. If they all agreed on it, they wouldn't be running right now. So just keep that in mind tonight. You're going to hear different opinions, you're going to hear different thoughts, and that's what tonight is all about, and that's really what our election cycle was all about. They all believe in themselves, they all want to see growth, they all want to see change, but their plans to get there will be different. So thank you all for those opening comments. We're going to kick off the questions with a question for everybody. Jeff, we will start with you, and this first question, and I can repeat it as we go down the line, but the first question is, what is the first action that you will take as mayor in this next election cycle, and why would this action be good to the residents of LaSalle? So again, first action you plan to take, your first big project or program, and how will that benefit our residents in LaSalle?
So basically, it's a continuation of what we're currently doing. We're trying to expand on some new ideas and opportunities. When I first ran, I was appointed to get a economic director position. And that really was a situation where we were point of contact with local businesses to make that first contact with the city and move forward with that. When we have an interested developer now, we meet with them as a team to be a one-stop shop. City engineer, city clerk to discuss zoning, public works director, economic director, the finance director, and our city attorney is always available at home to make sure there's any questions. So we're not saying, hey, we'll have to come back to you on this, or can we meet next time? Because we know everybody's busy with the schedule. We in LaSalle don't want to be the red tape. We don't want to be the cog in the tire that's holding up the progress. Right now, there are no major projects. Economic director for a visit to Chicago today, actually, for a manufacturing warehouse convention. We continue to work and with our local developers, our local landowners, and to try to find out what's going on like that with Gina. The Clear property was one of the final properties for Alice Distribution Center, which we know they decided on the Princeton location, which is out, which we're very proud that we're right there in the running. One thing I think that we have to realize as a city is that Princeton owned that property. So when you take the middle person out of it, third party out of it, we probably could have had a situation to land that. Sometimes there's misunderstandings, sometimes it's a price point. We had an opportunity last fall to get 43 acres at the northwest corner of 178 and Route 80 as the unit interchange. Unfortunately, we needed 6 out of 9 votes to do that. We had 5, we needed 1 yes vote, we had 4 alternate didn't. The property was up for auction, the bank was going to give us a first shot, roughly about $700,000. The only reason I pushed for the council at the time to go get it was because we had a situation where we know it was just a difference of opinion between the bank that held it and a couple of developers. With our economic director on board, I thought we could get this done, buy it for $700,000, we'd flip it for $700,000, it'd be a win-win, it'd be a new developer. Unfortunately, council won't do that. Everybody has their own ideas, and as a team here, we might agree to disagree on business decisions, but it's never personal, right? So, unfortunately, at the end, another group got it, and right away that price went to $1.8 million to $2 million, right? So again, this opportunity for us, we're going to continue to work on that and try to get that situation. So again, a lot of times it's not up to the city to bring this stuff. There's not a menu that says, hey, I want a hotel. Press the button, you get a hotel. I want a car lot. Boom, I want a car lot. We see in Peru where IB Auto Group, very successful group on the west end of Peru, across from UPS and Route 6, They moved, a couple different reasons, but I know one was to be by line. 251, it's kind of all over road, right? You have a situation to be, again, one-stop shop, if they can't find a Jeff Perry, they maybe go down the road to have the hour. We have other opportunities here as far as social media to get us promoted. Live Up and Sal, which our own companies in town can use that for their own marketing. Our Natural Heritage Quarter, our TIF, our RIP grant, which is the side grants, our RFP program. So again, as mentioned about our public works building, if situations somebody wants a project, they don't have to pay $275,000 as a praise that. We want them to save that money, put that money towards the building. We will give them the city, not just myself, the alderman, that building to make it right. And guess what? That's a $275,000 incentive, correct? Sales tax reimbursement. I like this the best. It's kind of like a pay for performance. We did that with Bex. Bex said, hey, we want some money back in sales tax reimbursement. I said, that's great. Because they're going to do what? They're going to work hard to get sales tax, and then we get a chance to get them paid back sooner than later. That's our plan. We're on the right track. And again, I believe it's the business downtown that helps down there. It's our land developers that will help us grow up our Route 80, up our Route 39, up by Route 6 towards the Four Corners in Utica. Thank you.
All right, there were some technical difficulties on the phone, so thanks for keeping it right where it needed to be, because go figure, first question you had to do. So, appreciate that. For those who don't know, when Gina was mentioned, Gina is the director at the North Central Illinois Economic Development Corporation, which is an economic development group that promotes the entire region. Just to clarify that for anybody who may not have that information. So Jeff, thank you for that. Absolutely. Tyler, to you, same question, sir. So what is the first action that you'd like to take as mayor, and why would this action be good for the residents here in LaSalle?
The first action I'd like to take is actually to hold a meeting specialized with the current government body and every single individual who's running on the ballot for April 1st this year. That means that regardless of who actually wins these positions, this would still allow the majority voter base to have their opinion heard. This project could be created through any sort of announcement from these individuals, win or lose. And then we'll work as the established government going forward to try to make this plan operate. Beyond that, it looks like we could also have about 2 to 3 meetings with the public afterwards to knock out the loose ends there and to guarantee that this project would have at least a 90% approval of the public going forward.
Thank you, Tyler. And I know that there were some of those meetings held by Director Beat last year, I believe. Turnout like this wasn't quite where it could have been, so we'd like to see with those meetings, those public meetings, anytime they're held, to see you folks out of those as well, just because it does help drive the direction of this community. Don't just wait for April 1st or November, any of those elections. Use your voice to be heard throughout the year. Talk to your alderman, stop at the city, whatever it is, take advantage of those meetings and those groups that you have. So, Tyler, thank you for sharing that time. Jamie, the question is to you now, sir. So same question. What's the first action that you plan to take, and how will that benefit the residents here in LaSalle?
My first action that I plan to take is, we need full transparency and accountability in government. So we're going to need a forensic audit. We're going to need to find out where our money's going, where it's truly going, where grant money's being spent, where TIF money's being misused, and get to the bottom of the true issue with our finances in LaSalle. They can go ahead and say the pasture's green all they want. The numbers don't lie. They know we're in a deficit. They continue to deny it to the people and cover it up. So that's the first thing I would do. The second thing I would do is I would get with every alderman individually and squash out any issues that we may have encountered over the last 2 years, either by their force of hand or by my force of hand. We need to end wasteful spending in LaSalle. We need to be accountable for, the city needs to be accountable for the money, what's being paid for. I want to give an example. We just did $9,000 for Rotary Park, people. $9,000 to do a drone survey of Rotary Park. Are we worried about downtown? Are we worried about Rotary Park? Are we worried about anything else but that? The people, we're forgetting the people. The people are the ones who should be making these decisions. We're being lied to, people. And I will expose every lie that comes out of anybody's mouth. If I am mayor, and if there is an alderman on that, we're in a meeting and he's talking some BS. I'm a no bullshit guy, I'm gonna call it. We need to hold our officials accountable for what they do and what they don't do. The Caris fire was a disgrace. The way every alderman, almost every alderman, the city in general, the way they handled that was a disgrace to the people that were affected by the fallout of them chemicals. We need to restore trust in local government. We need to be making everything, you know, it upsets me because they talk about transparency. But the issue is if you go on the city website, they've been changing it lately. It's only because I've been pushing for it. They're called small wins. These are the small wins that I get. I force them to do these things. It's not on their own will. If they want to be transparent, they can give us the packets before the meetings. They can let us speak longer than 3 minutes. They can answer the questions that everybody's been wondering and been asking over and over again. But they keep continuing to say that they are transparent, just contact them. Well, it depends who you are in this city. Who you are.
That is your truth. Thank you, Jamie. So the forensic audit, obviously, then will be opened up to the public, right? And then there is a question that we may get to, but that the meetings one-on-one with Colonel Alderman, I appreciate you addressing that as well, because I know that was a question that came up. So appreciate that being part of your primary or your initial plan. So thank you for sharing that. Gary, will you wrap us up with this first question for all of you? What is the first action that you'll take, and how will that benefit our residents here?
Maybe I changed my mind on the first action. We know there's a lot of bad blood at this table. I think the first action I would take is to try to just calm all this down and move forward. We have 10,000 people in our town. I look to the young people. I want to help young people realize that this might be part of politics, but this should not be part of LaSalle. Let's move forward and make the town the best it possibly can be. So the first day in office, if I was the mayor, I would meet with 2 buying groups that I have already contacted, and I personally know them, and I would start buying property in order to get the sales tax built up with our hotel, strip mall, car dealership. We are way behind other communities, people. We have 1 fast food place in our city. We have a town of 10,000 people. I go to ball games with my kids. We drive through towns of 1,000 people or 2,000 people. They've got a McDonald's and a Hardee's and a Kentucky Fried Chicken. They've got a motel. They've got everything we don't have. And I don't understand why we just can't turn the page on this and start thinking about what we should be doing to create more money instead of fighting over the morsels that we get. We have a town that's very near us that just put in 2 new subdivisions. They have put in 34 new homes. Do you know how many new homes have been built in LaSalle in the last few years? 34 times $6,000 in taxes is $240,000 each year in real estate taxes. I mean, guys, we've got to get to the point to where we're thinking about building the future of LaSalle instead of fighting over ordinances. I believe that there's a lot of wasted spending in the city. I see wasted spending every day. I am a landlord, and I have numerous properties that have water bills. Each one of these properties, if they are a day late on the water bill, the landlord gets a letter saying they're a day late. One of my tenants might be a day late on a water bill. The tenant gets a pink copy of it, it's the same thing. So there's 2 letters going out to say that you're a day late. I get from 5 to 10 of these letters every single month. All the tenants end up paying their water bill, but we are paying $10 to $20 a month in just postage to send these letters out.
And that is your 3 minutes. I apologize if you didn't hear the time.
We have email and we have text messaging.
So a couple things that I heard there, Gary. One of the pieces that stuck out to me, because there are several contested races. No matter what happens between the 4 of you or any folks running for council, I think it is important that we all remember post-election, you're all still residents, right? You're all still residents of the city. You all still care about the city. So I think that was an important piece to call out. And then as somebody who represents the region through IBAC, win, lose, or draw, I encourage you, and I'd love to sit down post-election, no matter what happens, and look at that buying group and still move forward, because as community members, as Tyler mentioned in his opening, as community members, you're boss, right? You're the ones that get to make these decisions. You're the ones that get to put the butts in seats. So any community member, I encourage you, as I said earlier, to take control, take charge, and do what you can. So, Gary, thank you.
How do we get them voted through so we can build?
It'll be easier if you're mayor, right? But I encourage the conversation to happen. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you all for the first question. Next question is going to be just for you, Jeff. The first question for Jeff alone is, what will you do to attract new business to LaSalle?
I believe I answered that, I apologize, the first time, when I mentioned about the economic director position. If you guys can, I'll go back to what they want to be.
Yeah, please. If you
Kind of the
have,
same thing anyway, that's why I kind of got paid, so I apologize for that. The main thing we're working on right now, again, of course, is still the budget. Spending, sales growth, sales tax growth, our economy. Right now, our focus is on how we're not going to have polls, we're not going to have Target, we're not going to have Home Depot, we're not going to have Menards. Crew did an outstanding job 40 years ago. They looked ahead, they wanted to get out throughout the evening. At that time, the downtown was what it was all about. We kind of put our bet on the downtown. Fortunately, we're receiving that happen again. The downtown still could have been an issue to go forward. Unfortunately, we inherited and we worked on it is pension. We have a police pension and we have fire department pension. And those folks work hard, you're fair, and we can make sure that money is available to them when it's time. We came in, the police department pension was at 20%, 26%. Right now, we're at 40%. We have until 2040 to get it to 90%. So we're making some strides. Before us in the office, we're giving $300,000 to pension, fire, police. Now we're giving over $2 million. Believe me, council and myself would love to have $2 million to put through other development opportunities, but we have to take care of the folks that are there before us and do the right thing by those firemen and police department folks. The fire department, we're at 80% right now, so we're not going to make promise shooting for that 90% pretty soon, okay? I talked about it a little bit already, is ambulance service. To me, it's fire ambulance service for our residents here. We're in an area that's older. Past experience, my family, we use the ambulance service a a lot, unfortunately. But it's nice that we have our own ambulance service, and I appreciate the alderman at the time we did this, Alderman Davis was one of them on the parade board. We decided, hey, we're not gonna pay $4,000 a month for parade, which is $40,000 a year, we're gonna start at home. And right now, that home ambulance service is up to over $900,000 in the budget. And again, you can't use that for sidewalk, you can't use that for roads, but it's for service, right, for all posts. So right now, we're at the point where we're probably gonna talk about it, get fire, medic, personnel, that will also be able to do fire department work, as well as first response paramedics, to make sure everybody here gets that great response they need for their health care. We all know sometimes it's seconds that can matter, correct? What's nice about LaSalle own service, and we schedule fees of paying outside services to do their service, is that we don't have to pay the balance due. If my insurance only pays $2,500 or $3,000, I don't have to pay the extra $500. If my Medicare only pays, $2,000, I'm not going to get an individual bill to cover the rest. So that's our goal. Those are big things still facing us right now. It's still the budget, our pensions, and our services for you. Thank you. Appreciate your flexibility.
Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it, John. Jamie, the next question is for you, sir, and the question is, would you please share some of your background and how that background and your experience professionally in work can help you leverage, or how can you help leverage that to make sure that you are a benefit to LaSalle, and help LaSalle with that?
My background, I have a background, and I'm not a career politician. Was never used to talking in front of crowds. I don't know, maybe you've never been in a situation where you have to do what we're doing. It's not the easiest job. So we all need that credit on that side of it. But I am not a career politician. I'm a union laborer, and I have decades of hands-on experience. I was injured in 2014. I messed my neck up, my shoulder, back, and a bunch of other stuff. Unfortunately, my $110,000, $20,000 career ended at that time, and life seemed to put me on a path of wondering where I'm going to fit in, and I just happened to fall into this. But anyway, my work, what I worked on is I ran sewer back trucks, sewer cleaning, televising, lining. I televised most of these sewers in the city of LaSalle. I know where the problem areas are. I've been doing this since Grove's been mid of LaSalle, and that's been over 20 years. Just because I haven't been in the work field force for a while due to my injury doesn't mean that I don't forget what I know. I have a hazmat training. I've worked with crews that clean up hazardous waste materials. That's why when the Cares fire hit, I knew something wasn't right. That's going to be good to bring to the table. I know what budgets, what these jobs go for. I know what it takes to put sewer pipe in the ground. I know what our city workers are capable and should be doing, and they're not. I don't know if the people know or not. We've been paying a lot of money to have other companies like Pohar and UC Paving to repair our storm drains. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. We just give it away. We're paying people to clean our sewers when we have a what? A Vector, a sewer cleaning machine. And I hate to sound like I'm being a real horse here, but it upsets me that they don't use the equipment, the manpower, or what the purpose is. Cleaning our streets, they haven't done that. That's a job in itself, let alone taking care of the infrastructure. But I know infrastructure. I know what it takes. I've worked it hands-on.
Thank you. Appreciate the insight and the information. So as you talk infrastructure, that is your background. So appreciate what you could bring there. Tyler, you are next, sir. The question for you is, what can you do differently to promote the properties currently available for development here in LaSalle?
So as of right now, there's only about 2 things that we can do differently. And the standard version would be to relook at zoning codes and tax rates and tax reform. However, we can only do that so often and so many times before we start going back to original tax codes and the tax breaks we already offered prior. Another one that I'm currently looking at is to create a temporary store program. So what this will be is that for 3 months, locals in the area, not just the city of LaSalle, but like Peru, Oglesby, the township, and surrounding townships, the place of it to come in and try to renovate and put a prop-up business in one of the empty storefronts. You won't charge them the full rent rate for those few months, and this will either hopefully show that they can stay long-term, which then they will have to pay the normal rate, and continue to work as any other storefront would be. Or if they fail, then they will fall out and then we'll go to the next bid, which the cycle will continue until as many storefronts in the downtown region is filled.
So it's almost like an incubator program. Okay. Okay, would there be, and then just curiosities, I apologize. So, would it be front loaded where those discounts, those breaks for those businesses would be up front, getting started those first few months, and then there would be a payback kind of spread out over the next X amount of years, so long as they're successful, so the city can recoup money? Or will it just be, hey, this is a marketing expense, it's a sunk cost, they're here now, they're driving taxes at this point?
So if they fail, they're going to have to pay back that whole money over a set course of time. That would be with the contract living at that time that the council approves of. The other side is if they perform well, that they don't have to pay back that cost. That was an incentive. They performed their duty to the letter. They get the same.
Appreciate the clarification. Thank you. Gary, the next question is for you, sir. The question is, what are some of the pro-business policies that you would work to enact if elected mayor? You're getting the business thing here. These were all randomized, by the way. But the question that came up for Gary was, what are the pro-business policies that you would work to enact if elected mayor?
My first pro-business policy would be to make sure that we meet with every business owner in LaSalle. You gonna restart?
Yep, we're restarting.
What I said was, we will meet with every business owner in LaSalle. We have an economic director and I that's available to do that. We need to meet with the business people of LaSalle and actually have a conversation about what they need to be successful. The second thing that I would do is similar to the pop-ups that Tyler talked about. I know a lot of the people that own buildings downtown, they're empty, nothing really happening with them. I would work with the landlords of these buildings, because I personally know, to get a few pop-ups in here and get started on these entrepreneurs who want to do something. There are a lot of people that really just would love to get on their own and try to make whatever they make money. And the hard part for that is they really, a lot of times it's just experimental. But by going into a few of the places that we have empty downtown, they can try to see if they can be successful before they have to get locked in to a long lease that they can't pay, and then they do end up, falling apart and closing up shop. I also believe that if we can do facade renovation and pay for the facades downtown and fix them, I think we can have a loan or a free money. I mean, we're giving away $12,000 a year to have our property to give away to fix the facades. I think we can go ahead and make a grant program to get these pop-ups started by paying some of their rent, by paying some to get their stock in there, to get their signage going, actually give them, a grant that they can use to get started. The city a few years ago had the chance to go ahead and be the first in the area to put, food trucks in. We voted it down because we said the moms and the pops of the businesses that were already downtown would go out of business because we put food trucks downtown. Now it seems like food trucks are the most popular thing that are going in every town around us. We had the chance to be first. Our administration voted it down. There's ways that we can make something as a food truck work in our town by saying you have to be 500 yards away from any retail food store. Easy to do. Easy to do and get the pop-ups and the food trucks going. So we have these entrepreneurs who can get into business cheaply, and they will actually buy into the system. Was that for me?
That was a real one.
They can buy into the system and then get started as brick and mortar. We did that with Modern Creek downtown. I had a building that was empty. We let Modern Creek come in, do a pop-up shop for a few months, no rent, and they ended up renting a building downtown and becoming a viable business in our city. It can be done. You just have to communicate with these people and not just shut them down or create an ordinance that will not allow them to get into business. Back to you, Bill.
Appreciate the smooth transition with that individual. On that grant, I'll follow up with it. Would there be a matching portion of that grant? Anytime that there's grant dollars, you get several styles. One is free of charge or free and clear, it's a grant. One is you've got some skin in the game, so you do a matching, so it's $10,000, $5,000 comes from the city, $5,000 comes from the business. Is that the kind of thought you have?
Well, how much do you have in your checkbook, Frank?
Well, I've got 2 kids, so not a lot.
So we think the Chamber of Commerce should pitch in. How about that?
Potential. And then the other piece of food trucks, Airbnbs, there's a lot of that that's happened in this area in the last 5 to 10 years. And just like in our personal lives, I think there's oftentimes spirit of the unknown. We dealt with that. The Airbnb piece was kind of the food truck follow-up. So I get not wanting to be the leader necessarily, but you also don't want to be a laggard. You got to find that balance. I think is kind of where you were heading there. So appreciate the answer to that.
Thank you.
All right, the next question goes back to everybody. Jamie, we're going to start with you on this all-in question. The question is, identify an initiative that you will pursue to partner with another governmental agency, so internal governmental agency within the city, to really make sure that we're reducing redundancy and become more efficient to ultimately save the taxpayers money. I know you addressed that a little bit, or wanted to address it a little bit, but we'll be curious to hear kind of what are some of those pieces you can really do to reduce that redundancy and save some money.
One of the biggest inefficiencies in LaSalle government, of course, is the redundancy. The lack of coordination between city and county and regional agencies. Instead of each agency working in silos and duplicating efforts, we need to combine resources and streamline services and create cost-saving partnerships. And that's about the shortest question or answer I have for you tonight.
I appreciate it. So, as you're thinking, it's not just internal redundancies, it's making sure that with state, city, and county, we've got those relationships really shored up, and we can make sure that we're not duplicating efforts across the board.
Yes, because it happens. It's happened in not just in local government, but government in general. EPA, OSHA, Homeland Security, they're all crossing each other, they're all doing the same thing, but they think they're doing it and nobody's doing it. So we need to stop that.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Jimmy. Gary, same question to you, sir. What are some of those redundancies that you can reduce or eliminate, and how will that help save those taxpayers some dollars?
Right, I'd like to talk to you about the water bill that LaSalle is doing, sending out multiple bills. I don't know if you guys realize it takes 74 cents to send a letter out. Right now, I have 5 in front of me. I usually get from 5 to 10 every single month, a day after the water is due. I really would love to dive into the financing. John John Hudson here, and, find out, if I can just see by getting a water bill, how one person probably had, how many is, I was thinking about Andy, how many rentals do we have in LaSalle? How many, does anybody know how many rentals we have? No, too hard to remember. Well, we have a lot of rentals in LaSalle. So every time a water bill comes out, two of them come out. One goes to the landlord and one goes to the tenant. If my tenants do not pay their water bill, about a month later, I get a call from Joe, who runs around town, and he asked me to go into the building and shut the water off. I don't need multiple letters sent to me stating that a tenant hasn't paid the water bill. It's just a waste of money. I have a lot of other ideas of ways to save. Like I said, I'd love to work with John Duncan to get into the books and find out, when we're being billed 2 or 3 times over and where the wasted spending is going. Everybody, almost everyone now has a cell phone. Why can't we just text that the water bill hasn't been paid? Why can't we send an email that the water bill hasn't been paid? There's other ways to do it to save us a lot of money. And I know that there's wasteful spending, and that would be being a businessman in LaSalle. That's basically how I did it in the last 5 years. Watched where all the money was going, curb the spending, and we had a very successful business. Back to you, Bill.
Appreciate it. So process checks, it sounds like, is water billing is one of the examples. Looking at those processes that the city currently has in play that may have been around, where they've worked for us thus far, but they could be improved. Okay. All right. Next is Mr. Grove. To you, sir. Same question again. I will repeat it. How do you reduce redundancy, or what can you do to reduce redundancy in an effort to save those taxpayer dollars?
So I'm very proud to announce that we've already done a kind of the first step in that with LaSalle, Roseby, Spring Valley, Mendota, now we have it LaSalle. So when you call the emergency number for 911, or when you call the LaSalle Police non-emergency number, that is actually going to our IBRD, Illinois Valley Regional Dispatch Center in Peru. So instead of LaSalle having our own 911 system, having to hire extra people to cover that 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Same for Peru, same for Roseby, same for Mendota, same for Spring Valley. We have one unit, which means we're putting our resources together. And which is great is that these dispatchers, along with our own officers, right now we're going to get a new cab. So Officer Regatta is representing LaSalle. So it's like, as an officer, what do you need in your computer program to make it easier for you to do your job? And we're all talking to a communicator. What do you need to help your job to get done and make sure we're getting these people dispatched to our locations? And it's been a godsend. It's been great. We're saving a lot of money. Again, using that money. Anytime we save some money, we're excited about it. We actually tried a couple years ago to do a joint policing. LaSalle, Peru, Roseby. And it was kind of unheard of at the time, but since we were successful with IBRD, we thought we'd try it. Unfortunately, with some of the union contracts and different pensions, it got hung up, and we kind of, Peru decided to build their own facility. Again, we all were all at LaSalle. It wasn't a situation where we needed to have the central police station in LaSalle. We actually told them, we think it's such a great idea, we can save money, put it Osby or we didn't really care. But again, unfortunately, it was a great idea. It was actually put as a topic, and Northern Illinois, we talked about shared services, that we actually tried it, and I'm hoping we can revisit it in the future. Again, Peru has a beautiful, big enough police station for all of us, but it'd be kind of like a zone patrol. You know, you'd have 5 people on, maybe 2 people in South, 2 people in Peru, 1 person in Oglesby, and they rotate around the meeting. But it's a great concept. We kind of do that already now with mutual aid. If LaSalle has a call, Peru's right there, Oglesby's right there. In fire, if LaSalle has a call, same way. Peru's there, Oglesby there, also backing up our station. We're kind of doing that in practice already. I just think it'd be nice to actually put it in where the money is and make these shared resources permanently with these communities and make it more involved. But IBRD has been a great example of that, and we're
meeting in Peru?
We will limit the sidebars. Appreciate the response. For those who haven't been into the regional dispatch, the facility has been immediately updated, and I know that team goes through some training. So, and the biggest piece, if you're not on fire department or ambulance department, there is a lot of work that goes in regionally to those calls. So taking what's working already and re-implementing it into an area like policing, maybe again a future discussion for anybody that's up at this table. So thank you for that, and sort of wrap us up if you will.
The initiative I'm looking to go and pursue is to fill the TIF districts. They can sit for a while, and you just gotta get something in it. So, the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Department, the EPA, and at one point the USDA all had available grants and assistance programs in order to help bring businesses into TIF districts. The only issue is if we go out of our way to ask for help, they tend to step on each other's toes. So we're going to have to work as a city to maintain a streamlined push to get these TIF districts filled and any other development projects done. As it currently stands, the EPA and the DCEO, which is the Illinois Department of Commerce, seem to be wanting to pick up the slack of whatever the USDA is going to be missing going forward. So those two will be the ones we'll be dealing with the most, but they're going to be overlapping quite a bit. So you're going to probably see a lot more meetings going forward of us bringing people in and like, all right, why are we making us jump through hoops over and over again? So we're going to have to really just lock them down in order to get these projects done.
Appreciate it. And I wish you luck with jumping through some of that, because I know that as you get bigger, it gets harder, and as you move levels of government, it gets harder to keep things intact and on track. So appreciate that, and calling out some of those agencies that not everybody knows about that we will have to work with regionally. So thank you for that. All right. Please, yeah, that's so moving. Absolutely. Next question is for you specific, sir. The question is, how can you balance accountability of property owners and city support for projects to make sure that businesses do have the desire to work here? We've seen some examples locally, and it's a balancing act at times, I think. So what kind of approach would you take to make sure that you keep that balance of accountability, but also support for those potential businesses?
Just like you said, there is an imbalance. Small property owners and businesses are held to strict standards, while large developments and connected businesses seem to get a pass. That will stop under my leadership. No more playing favorites with business owners and landlords.